Hi, Jenny here. Today is Wednesday, October 11th. So I did not do an update video last week. Nothing was going on. And I didn't do anything because I was in a lot of pain. So what went on last week was a lot of tears on and off because I've been having some rectal pain. Mostly when I'm standing or walking. Sitting has been okay, although there were a few days too that even sitting, it wasn't the best. So a couple Saturdays ago, I ended up laying on the couch at like 10:30 in the morning, and I stayed there all day. And this past week, I pretty much by 2:33, 3:30, I'm going to lay on the couch to take the pressure off of sitting. Yeah, at least when I'm laying, that's better. Although the other thing that's also nicely come back to me is, I've kind of mentioned before, I'm kind of like, I'm having like vaginal output. So it's kind of like having a period, but it seems it's more like mucus stuff that's coming out. But even still, every time that I roll over on, on the couch, or even when I'm sitting, every time I stand up, I get a whoosh. And so I've been going through lots of pads. Yeah, the womanly thing. So tears because of pain, tears because of sadness, tears because of grieving. I was hoping to really be feeling well these next 2 months, like all of October, November, and that I would be getting things done, whether, around the house, getting some extra stuff done, or at least on the weekends and stuff of going out and, going to some festivals and going places, or, having lunch with some friends. And that, the universe has other plans for me. It wants me to rest. So I'm listening. I'm listening to my body. I am resting. I know on Wednesdays even I do an online yoga class. It's like a restorative yoga for those who've had cancer. And I was allowed in to that. So I don't know if the other people, I think, aren't really going through anything. I think I'm the only person that's still going through stuff. And it's good. It's good to go through, but I've missed the last, I think, even 2 classes because of pain. It's like I was already on the couch and like getting ready to nap or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting up now to go do yoga. I needed to sit and rest. So hopefully today I should be able to. I'm not feeling too bad. Still having some pain. Sitting's kind of okay today. So again, I never know. One day at a time. And again, I've had people tell me that to get just listen to your body, just rest. This is what is what's needed right now. As far as because I'm like, okay, I know how precious life is not right now and stuff, and I want to be going out and making memories, and it's kind of like, no, you need to rest. So I figure, well, I guess the universe also knows that I'm going to be around for many more years, and so I will make memories many more years. Like when I'm all finished with all this, then I can start up again and do that, I guess. So because of those different things going on, yesterday was my MRI and CT scan. So I was also a little nervous about that. And the day before, a couple days before, I kept thinking about things. One of them, I had to adjust my Advil schedule so that it would work for that I could take the Advil before leaving the house yesterday. For the MRI scan, you cannot eat or drink anything for 4 hours beforehand. My scan was at 9:30, so as of 5:30 in the morning, I couldn't eat or drink. So we woke up at 5, and I came down and I had some oatmeal, something I hoped would hold me over for a little while. And I was debating on pain pills. The other thing being, my daughter caught a cold last week Thursday and has been sneezing and coughing and not feeling good and all that. And I'm like, well, I can't really ban her to her room, and I didn't really want to just sit in my room. I don't be dead. So it's like, well, we'll see what happens. So far, my body's been good. It's been healthy. I have not caught anything. I think she's been sick once before, like earlier in the year, and I was good. And as of Monday night, I kind of started getting like a soury stomach and a little bit of a sore throat, and I could feel a little congestion in the right side, my nose, and I'm like, oh, I can't catch a cold. I can't have a cold now. I can't, it takes over a month to get into these appointments to get the MRI, and I'm seeing my doctor, the surgeon, at the end of the month. So it's like, if I miss this appointment, they'd have to schedule me out again, and then the surgeon wouldn't have the results. I'd have to reschedule her appointment because it wouldn't make sense, and that would just again be more time going on. Where I just want to keep marching forward with this and getting things done. So I'm like, do I take my regular Advil? Do I take a cold pill that'll help dry me up and make sure that I can make it through? And I think those last 6 hours, not 4, because again, that 4-hour mark. I'm like, I'll take the pill, and then by the time I'm in the test, my nose is going to start running or something. Or do I take a tramadol? Because knowing I'm in pain when kind of walking around, and we're going to be at the hospital, it's a lot of walking. Parking in the parking lot, and then walking down to go find the area, and whatever, and then more walking. And so I debated. I didn't know what to do, so I figured I'll see in the morning what it's going to be. The other thing that was on my mind was, of course, vaginal leaking. And I'm like, hopefully maybe they'll let me wear my underwear, at least until the point of getting into the MRI room, and then maybe I could take them off, and because I thought I was going to be naked under the gown. And for what they needed to do, I forgot from my last test of what I all had to wear. And I thought, well, whatever I can ask. I'm like, there's got to be sometimes like women, girls that need these tests done, and they're having their period, and what do? I can't just go walking around and having stuff leaking down my legs and making, spots on the floor or whatever that. So that was a worry of mine. And then I thought, you know what? I'm leaving it up to the universe. The universe knows. They know what's going on in my body. They know how I feel. They know, I leave it up. It's gonna be okay. Everything's got to be okay. So the next morning, like I said, I woke up, had my oatmeal, and then I took a loperamide so that I could also slow the output of my bag, so that wasn't going to hopefully fill up on the table. And then I decided on a cold pill, because I thought, all right, I'll just take that. It was only 200 milligrams, so I actually did take 2 extra Advil of that so I could have the right amount of pain medicine in me. And I took that to make sure that I would be dried up, and I would be okay for hopefully at least through the test, and then we'll see if I needed to take another one at that point before my CT scan, or how that was going to work. But I thought, okay, I'm going with that. I took a tramadol with me, I took loperamide with me, I took Advil with me, we had a little snack box. I had some liquid IV nicotine, because after the MRI I could drink. I could drink before the CT scan. They only required no eating for 3 hours beforehand. CT scan was originally scheduled at 2:30 p.m. so I didn't know how long I would have to wait, and I thought there too was kind of like already changed. If I'd stay in those clothes, I figured it was going to be the same department, so we'd have to figure out whether we're going to stay around, whether we're going to try to go to Starbucks and eat. At least he could eat. Wayne came with me, so at least he could have some lunch, so he wasn't starving while we were there for many hours. But so in any case, we checked in for the MRI. The receptionist took me back to go get all the clothes, the gowns and stuff that I would need to wear, and show me the waiting room and the changing room. And so one of the pieces of clothing was some underwear, and I was like, oh, good, I'm so happy I get to at least wear underwear. I'm like, because I've got some like leaking going on. And she goes, oh, do you want a pad? And I'm like, really? I can have a pad? And she's like, oh yeah, sure, here. And she went out and she got me a pad. She goes, you need extras? And I'm like, one will be fine. But I'm like, oh my God, thank you, universe. Because again, the stress was just like, oh, that was one of my, like I said, big things. So to have that taken care of was just so wonderful. I was so happy. So that's good, because I figured I'd have to go to the waiting room and wait, and then I would have to stand up to go then get prepped and get my needle in, my port, and then I'd have to stand up, and then I would have to like go to the MR and then stand up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is too much. I was so happy for that. And I said, I don't know what the machines can do. And in reality, it's pretty amazing. These machines can see through all these layers of clothes, because I had pants on, and that went up, almost to, above your belly button level type of thing. So I even had that over my bag. I have, the ostomy bag. I had a gown on from front to back, and then I had another gown on like a house coat, and I got to wear all that. I'm like, that's a whole lot of layers for that machine to be able to get through, to see my insides and all that. So that's very interesting. But in any case, so yeah, I got all changed up, and then I went and sat by Wayne, and then the nurse came and got me. And I asked her, I said, this is going to be like a 45-minute test, right? With like 30 minutes prep time and all that. And she said, yeah, it's about it, about an hour and a half and all that. Okay, so I told Wayne, so he would know. Yeah, it's going to be like that hour and a half-ish, because last time it took about over 2 hours, she said. So I thought, okay, that's what we figured it would be. And so at least he knew how much time he had, so he didn't have to sit there, because there's not great Wi-Fi in that area, and he wanted to do some work, so he'd have to go somewhere else in the hospital to find some good Wi-Fi. But anyway, so and I asked her if I could have music. So that was the other thing, I wasn't sure if I could have music or not. And she said, oh yeah. I'm like, so it's not going to be one of those where I have to, like, they'll give me instructions of taking a breath, hold, breathe. And she said, yeah, there'll be instructions, but the music will stop and you'll hear the instructions. But I'm like, oh, okay. Wasn't sure what this is all going to entail. So I get in the back, she asks me all the questions of, whether you have any metal anywhere in your body type of thing, piercings, tattoos, obviously still any dental, like partials, all that, hearing aids, any of that stuff. So that was all like, no. She didn't ask me about when I last ate or anything, which they usually do. Heard somebody else getting asked that. But then because I had the port, and when I accessed that, she had to take me back to kind of like the lab area to get that done. I guess if it was an IV, they could have done it there in the room, because that's where they did it last time, it was just right there. But with the port, I had to go to somewhere else. So again, thank God, I was good to go. So she took me over to another area. We had to walk and get over to like this lab type area. I know there were patients laying in those rooms too, so I don't know what they were doing there. They looked recovering type, or maybe they were, I don't know. But there were people also in this room, so it wasn't just a lab. But there was a gal there that she put my port in, and that went wonderfully. She was, oh, good blood flow return, so that was good, because the last time that the gal put the port in, she didn't get blood flow return. So it was just like, okay, that worked out also, so yay. Yeah, so she got the port all put in, and it didn't really hurt. I felt that tiny stick and whatever and all that, and that was fine. I didn't feel her doing the flushing. I didn't feel anything and all that, which is great. So from there, we went back into where I was waiting, where she asked me all the questions and all that stuff, kind of an MRI waiting area. The back room for that, because then the MRI machines are just like right around the corner. So then the MRI technician came and got me, and she took me into the room and got me all set up. And I mentioned this was gonna be like a 45-minute test, and she said, because she mentioned, she goes, you're gonna have some scans done, and then I'm gonna pull you out, and then I'm gonna give you a glucose like injection, and then we'll hook you up for the dye, and then we'll put you back in the machine, and then we'll do those tests. And I was like, oh, so it's not like 45 minutes total, you're not? And she said, no, it's like an hour and a half. She says, this is a good hour and a half to 2 hour scans when they do the abdomen. So I'm like, okay, fine. Hopefully Wayne wouldn't come back too early. And then he's sitting there and also again kind of waiting and wondering like, okay, where is she? But that's okay. So they put this covering on me. I don't know how to explain it. Kind of like a, like on a in your stove, the tray that you put all your pans on and all that stuff. What do you call that? The tray that goes in that has all the slots. I mean, it's something that looks like that, but not. It's plastic, and it's white, but it has a couple crisscrossy things on there, and it's curved, so it goes over your stomach. So I don't know if that helps part of this. I have no idea what that piece does or what it's for, but they put that on my stomach in there too. I thought, oh boy, I had a little bit of pressure on my stomach, and I thought, if that's going to be on there for that long, will that be it? But it was okay. They also give you a little button to push that was a squeezy bulb type thing. That's an emergency release type of thing, whatever. So if you squeeze that, I don't know if it stops everything or whatever, or they stop it and then they get you out, or see what the problem is. They really don't want you to do that because they want the scans to all be, the same and right where they are. They line it up for each one. That was okay. Didn't need that. And then just give me earplugs because the machine is loud. And last time they gave me headphones, even the first one when I didn't have music, even they still put the headphones on to also help damper the sound. This time the gal wasn't even going to do that. I'm like, am I going to get some music? Because I asked the other girl, yeah, about the music. And then and I said, I got to get some music. And she was like, oh yeah, so you want a Bon Jovi, right? I'm like, yes, please. So somebody else that was out more towards the desk, he's like, okay, I got it, I'll get it set up. And so then I had the headphones on, and it was kind of funny because the music played. It must have been loud enough. I was going to have loud enough to go over to the machine. It was loud enough that she could hear it. She started kind of singing to one of the songs. I'm like, okay, is that loud, huh? And then I said to her, I'm like, can you hear me if I talk or whatever? And she goes, well, if you talk really loud, because the machine's loud. And I was like, okay. I'm like, well, and can you talk to me? And she goes, well, do you want me to talk to you? I could talk to you between every test or whatever. Or I could just keep going. And I said, maybe halfway through or something, or I go, that's fine. Just keep going. I'll be fine. And she was like, okay. And pushed whatever button, which then put me in the machine, and it nicely went fairly slowly to go in, which is good because same. I don't mind the closed spaces. I'm not claustrophobic. But when you're going what I consider backwards, because you go head first into the machine, my stomach kind of does a little flip when the head does a little, it's kind of like a roller coaster type of like, woo! So if I go slow enough, then I'm fine. And I was good. So I got in the machine and had my music going, and they started it up. Well, they also had put a blanket on me too, which was very nice. That although as the machine goes, the backing that I'm laying on, the machine part that I lay on, also warms up. So it's kind of like, oh, it's getting a little warm. I was almost on the point of sweating. They do have a little bit of a blower going in there, which again, I think last time I was in the machine, I swear I was a little further up than I was. I mean, I know I didn't have my head sticking out the other side, so it wasn't completely over my head, but I mean, I was in the machine. There was still a good couple inches that if I looked up, I could see the one part of the machine in the outside. It was still a good almost foot behind me. And it seemed where the machine ended was almost pretty much really at the end of my abdomen. That, I mean, maybe I was a little further in, maybe I couldn't really see, but it was just like, okay, again, they know what they're doing. I'm leaving it up to them. They're the experts. And so the machine did its tests. I heard, some music, a couple songs I didn't really recognize. A couple of them I did recognize, but they were, older songs, ones that I just listened to. I was only singing along. There were a few I was kind of bopping my head along to a little. Couldn't move much because I didn't want to, adjust the earphones or anything. I'm like, oh, they gotta stay. And then I was like, should I count the songs? No, I don't need to count the songs. Well, about the fourth, I'm like, yeah, so like the fourth song. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, I should just be being about done because the songs run, about 4 minutes long. So by the 10th song, that'll be about 40 minutes. And if it's going to go 40, 45, well, then she pulled me out. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're done. So then she gave me some glucose injection. Again, I don't know what that was for, if that helps the dye or what, but she pushed through glucose into the port part, and then she hooked me up to the dye and then put me back in the machine. And while I was in there, then the machine started up again, and it does some tests, and then it kind of like stops. You can hear it going boom, 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 boom. And I forgot during the other part too, one of them, again, I think I mentioned this before, there's this one test that I feel like somebody is like pounding on the machine, like from underneath. So of course, I don't know. I picture Mario Brothers, the game where he's a little red dude and he's got the hammer when he's trying to like break the barrels and get up to the monkey. I know he's breaking the barrels, but for me, he's like under the machine and he's all like, so that's what I feel. There's like 3 different spots that I feel this little like pounding going on. And I'm like, okay, it's this time, it's this part of the test. And then they happen like 3 different times, which I'm also kind of interested in, of they do that same area 3 times. I don't know. But that was just kind of funny. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing that part. Anyway, so I got back in the machine and then we're going, and then she didn't tell me when the dye was going to be injected. There was one point where I thought I could almost feel some coolness going in. But otherwise okay. The glucose kind of made me I was almost starting to feel a little woozy. That I was like, oh, okay, nope. But I'm like, nope. Everything's going to be fine. We're getting through this. We're not, it's going to be okay. It's, and then they slid me back in, and then they started up the other tests. And then as a little aside, while I was laying there, I felt a little flutter along the back leg of my right hand. And I was like, well, it can't be a spider. There aren't going to be any bugs in here, whatever. And I thought, well, maybe it's my dad holding my hand. And then I pictured him and his crew of angels, his team that he always says that he has around me, that he sends to help heal me and all that they were all standing around the room and being there to help. And so later when I got home and I told my mom that I was home and everything went well, and then she said that, she talks to Dad all the time. Yeah, and Dad had said that, yeah, he and his crew were there, and then I told her about the little flutter on the hand, and she said that I just brought tears to her eyes because Dad said, yeah, that was him. So my angels were with me, and so that was very cute. Because when I told my husband about it too, I told him I had this little flutter on my hand. He goes, maybe your dad was holding your hand. And I'm like, well, that's what I thought. Like, so how cool is that? Oh, I'm very grateful for all the angel help and all the prayers. I put out a post that morning saying, because I'm a little nervous, and just saying, prayers please. And again, I had a whole slew of people offering up prayers for me. So I appreciate that. I know you guys are praying for me always here and there. I appreciate that. I was at one point in the machine, I covered myself in prayers. Sometimes a little hard to swallow because of this kind of cold-like thing, and more of the congestion was fine. I didn't have any of that. But I still had like this little, almost like a tickle in the throat, where you feel your throat is dry and you have to keep swallowing and swallowing. So there was a point there where I hadn't swallowed for a while or whatever. I was so relaxed, and then I would swallow, and then I was like, oh, now I need to swallow 2 more times to help finish getting that wet or getting that area okay. But I made it through. Everything went fine. It was great. They said they would let the CT team know that I was there, and see if they could get me in early, because those tests are only like 10 to 15 minutes, so they can more easily squeeze somebody in between tests. And again, if somebody's either running late or somebody had called in, or if they happen to have room in between tests, if they didn't have it completely scheduled out. So I think they said they were going to let the CT team know. She did. She came back. She said, I let them know. They will be able to get you, and they're going to bring you something to drink. And I'm like, great. So the gal came back and had a big styrofoam cup filled to the top. Had to be a good 40 ounces in there. I'm like, oh my God. But I had an hour to drink it. I didn't have to drink it in 10 minutes or anything. So that was okay. I'm like, an hour? I should be able to do this. And so I had a few sips and everything, and it didn't taste like the contrast and all that, which was good. Whereas last time I had it, it did. It just tasted funny. This more tasted like water. And every once in a while I would get a hint of a little bit of different taste. But that was all right. So I drank and drank, and obviously my bladder is still kind of, I guess, trained from doing the radiation, where I had to drink the good, was I drinking 24 ounces or so to 30 ounces every morning for that. So I got and plus I could go to the bathroom for this one too. I didn't have to hold it. So I drank all that down in about 45 minutes. At about the 30-minute mark or so, I figured, well, I kind of had to go to the bathroom. And I stood up, and as I was going, I thought, oh, thank God, my bag had totally inflated with gas. It was a balloon. It was so, I'm like, oh my Lord. I couldn't even tell. I didn't feel anything. I didn't notice it filling up. But I'm like, yeah, I need to get to the bathroom. So I did. Thank God it was loose enough I could get the bottom undone so I could release it, and I got all the gas out. And there too, that dawned on me, that happened to me when I had to do that for radiology. That happened too. It loaded up with gas. And then also what happened later was then when I was, I think, done with the CT scan, right before the CT scan, I think then it would start filling up with water, well, liquidy output. So I drank it all in the 45 minutes. So I kind of had the 15 minutes to spare. I was good. I went to the bathroom one more time before going into the CT scan, because again, I was rather prefer to have that as much empty as possible if we're going even for scan purposes. So then I had a good quarter of it or so full already, like I said, of liquid output. Took me in for the CT scan. That one was another big, just white machine that was round, but it was only a good, I don't know, 2-3 feet, probably 3 feet thick. And I went feet first, which again, I don't know, whoever developed the MRI machine that you had to go in head first, I don't know, I don't get why. But feet first is much better. So yeah, I lay down on that table, and she kind of put me in the machine, and all the way, so again, my head was in the middle of the machine. I could see the little X mark in the machine. She goes, okay, so you're going to be put in the machine like this, and then it's going to slowly pull you out for the tests, and then we'll get the dye in you and do a couple more tests. I'm like, okay. So that one I have to have my hands above, kind of up and above my head, alongside my head. And they put me in, and there's enough room, at least the machine is big enough that I could do that. I think in the MRI machine, man, that was close. I probably couldn't move. But they put me in, and they did, I had the robot voice saying, take a breath and hold. And so I did, and then it would pull me out, and then by the time I got out, it said, and breathe. And they did that 3 times, and then she put the dye through, or hooked me up to the dye or whatever, and put me in the machine. It was like another one of those where I came out, and then I came and she was, okay, we're gonna do the dye. And with that one, I could feel the metallic-y taste in my mouth, so I knew when it kind of came in, and then it makes you like warm in the abdomen, and it makes you feel like you're peeing. I'm like, okay, dye is in. And so I think they did that one actually 3 times too. I think they did the dye right away first, so I did like 3 regular and then 3 of those, and then I was done. So it did take like 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay. And we were done. They're like, okay, that's it, then you can go home. So it's like, yay. So I went and found Wayne, and I had to go get my regular clothes. I got the locker key from him, so I could go get my regular clothes on. And as I did that, I feel like the bag was like half full of liquid again. I don't know why whatever the contrast stuff that they have you drink, man, that just, again, for a regular person, I don't know if it makes you have to pee a lot and you have to go or whatever, but for me, man, it fills up my bag. And again, it's interesting that it's that kind of output not making me have to pee. I don't know. So I got dressed, and then I was like, yeah, I need a bathroom again. And somebody was in each of the bathrooms there, and he goes, well, Starbucks is right around the corner, let's just go to the bathroom there. And I'm like, that's true. So we walked down the hall a little bit, and then down another hall there was the bathroom, so I could do that. And then he had already bought me a croissant from Starbucks, because again, we thought we were going to have so much time. So I was done with the MRI scan at like 10:30, so that gave me technically about an hour that I could eat before my CT scan was actually scheduled. But because they were going to take me early, I wasn't going to eat anything, but I could drink and all that. So again, it was fine with drinking the fluid with the contrast in it. And then I think I had a couple sips of my liquid IV. Time to take some more medicine. I decided again I would take one more Advil cold and sinus and a loperamide. I think the 2 regular Advil. So again, I would be just set for the scan and all that, because again, I had that hour before the scan was going to happen. And so that all went well. I felt fine. I didn't have any pain. I couldn't believe that with all the walking that we did. I thought for sure I would be in pain. I was fine. And then we were ready to go. So like I said, Wayne bought me the croissant, and then he was going to eat it, and then he didn't. So I'm like, okay, well, I will eat that on the way home. And then I kind of wanted lunch out. So he was like, yeah, I kind of thought you might. Arby's? And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So on the way home, I was like, well, we could have kind of kept going because the next freeway exit or so after ours is where the Arby's is, so it's close. But of course, I had to now go to the bathroom because I'm drinking all that stuff. So now I had to pee. So Wayne nicely just brought me home, even though it wouldn't have been probably that much longer, but I didn't want to take any chances. So he brought me home first so I could go to the bathroom, and then he went out and picked up our food. And it was okay. It wasn't as good as the last time I had it. So it filled the bill though. And again, getting home, I was surprised. I still didn't have any pain until a bit later in the night. And again, I thought, all right, again, the universe did its job. Everybody, you know, the angels, all the prayers, it took away everything that I needed to do my thing. And now we're back to kind of regular life. So this morning, I was kind of saying, after laying in bed all night, because I'm laying and there's no pressure really on anything, I'm always pretty good when I first wake up. But then after going to the bathroom a couple times and even having that pressure of sitting on the toilet, then it's kind of like, oh, the butt starts hurting. But I was on the computer this morning, got some things done, and figured, well, I knew I wanted to make this, and I can sit doing this, so yay. I did get 2 baking food videos up the week before. I think I had done 2 things, or this last week maybe even, but I know I pushed through them. I was in a little bit of pain, but I did it, so we'll see how this week goes. I do have another couple videos in mind. I've got 2 more in mind that I want to make. We'll see how the days go and when I'm up for actually doing those. So those are the plans for the future. My next appointment is in 2 weeks on the 25th. So I might have the MRI results in my Live Well online account that I can look up and see for myself if I can understand what they all put in there as results and what it all says. Otherwise, on the 25th, well, even still, on the 25th, I'll have the doctor will explain everything and what everything meant and means and where we're going from there. So, that's it for me for now. Again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for still sending out all your prayers. They help. They help so much. So I so really appreciate that. I thank you so much. I hope you are doing well. And you guys, keep it positive. Go make it a great day. Bye-bye.